Shalom, shalom. This is the brother Kadabban of GMS Mississippi Gulf Coast. I'd like to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh and His only begotten Son's name, Yahweh Shai. Double honors are given unto the apostle, elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored and suffered in this truth for over 30 plus years, making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice. I also like to send a shalom to the hopeful elect, the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, the speckled bird, scattered throughout the four winds of planet Earth, north, south, east, and west. I also like to send a shalom to the various GMS camps, heads, and elders. Last but not least, I'd like to send a shalom to any of you Akim that are out on the highways and hedges, not named GMS, but walking one body, one spirit in Yahweh Shai, doing this work with all truth, diligently, and sincerity. To you all, shalom. Well, let me start it off by quoting a quote that the Apostle Elder Tahar had put out. This be the year of the turn up of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And as we see, hour by hour, it ain't even day by day, it's hour by hour. The news is rolling out, things are being turned up. It's like you turn up your heat on the stove, ever so gradually. But the end is not yet. There are other things that have to come into fruition as well. And those things look to be coming very, very soon, very, very soon. Before all out war is declared. We still have Jacob's trouble. We still have the forced implementation of the MOTB, crashing of the economy, so forth and so on. There's other things that's coming down the trough. So the end is not yet, just like Howard Shah stated, but the end be not yet, But yeah, things are heating up. I want to read an article one of the brothers that sent me, and Salakia. I spoke on this in one of my videos. A couple of videos back. I spoke on this, and lo and behold, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Kahala Yumla, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, all praise and honor be given unto the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. It came to the forefront. That's the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And it's dealing with, I had spoke about it, actually I did a video prior to this past count, and I see these skirmishes that are happening on planet Earth, and it triggers my, I guess for the lack of better words, the historian spirit that the Lord has given me. All praises be given to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And I remember certain little things and whatnot throughout school. History was pretty much my pet peeve. I like history, Anyway, and I thought about the Monroe Doctrine, named after President Monroe. I can't call his first name right off the bat, but it was a doctrine to keep all foreign powers off the territories of a certain country. And this country, or a certain region or a certain hemisphere. And this was written up during the late 1700s. And I made mention of this at this past camp, that there's a lot of sneaky, underhanded things that's going on that both sides are not putting on the table. They're not letting the world, by and large, see. When I say the world, I'm talking about the sheeple, the people, the society, the people who make up these different countries, the citizens. They're not allowing you to know exactly what's happening here. Violation of treaties and things as such. From both sides. We of the Hebrew Israelite, Lord willing, we are the men that the Lord has set up to bring forth His truth and to teach the 100% truth, starting with the apostle elders on down. We ain't got a dog in the race. You understand? Our power is Yahweh. Bashim Yahushua. That's it. We're set up. Like I say, Lord willing, we be those men, stole the apostle, elders on down. We're set up to bring the news. And when I say news, the prophecies. To tell you, thus says the scriptures. So, we don't have a dog in the race. It's, our kingdom to come is coming very soon. When the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, sends his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, to take down this present day kingdom. But in the meanwhile, we're going to speak on it, We're going to talk about it, And so, these two Edomite fractions, and when I say Edomite, that's just the biblical nationality of the so-called white man. If anyone that may, hear this message, hear this video, and slack it, Lord willing, this be edifying, if I hadn't already said so, that you'll know who is being spoken of. So when we say Esau, Edom, that's just the biblical nationality of the so-called white folks. And Jacob is the biblical, or the Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, is the biblical nationality of the so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Americans, that make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. All the way from the Mexicans all the way up until the so-called blacks make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. But anyway, let me read a little bit of this article, if I may. And then I'm going to jam up the video. Now, this reads, says, India today, and mind you, I had one of the brothers in the camp, Brother Kadal, sent me this late last night, confirming. I mean, we're actually validating through the Spirit that these sneaky, undermined deals that have been made in the dark, these in secret, that's actually what's playing out. But now you don't hear Fox News or CBS or MSNBC mentioning these things because they're all in violation. The United States is in violation. They just try to hide behind the little NATO the Northern Atlantic Treaty Organization that they created back in the late 50s. They hide behind little what you call firewalls that they're built. But nevertheless, they're in violation of their own treaties, which goes to show you, you check this man's track record, it goes back. He don't stand behind nothing that he say. Only thing he guaranteed you can count on him to be is wicked. Anyway, let's read a little bit of him. It says right here, India news. It's like India today. Ukraine's Ukraine/Russia war. How Putin is using U.S. Monroe Doctrine against NATO. There it is. Like I say, through the Spirit, how about Shem Yahushua? I did a video concerning this a little bit than a week ago. And it was actually brought out through the Spirit, how about Shem Yahushua, a count. This past count. Russians President Vladimir Putin remains firm that Ukraine should not be granted a seat at NATO's table. This stems from the U.S. Monroe Doctrine, a cornerstone of American foreign policy. Now Putin and Russia are using the same principles to prevent Ukraine from joining NATO. Boy, the little sneaky boy, U.S. ain't nothing nice. It says Putin has said that Russia cannot allow a major power, and it got U.S. in parentheses, to incorporate a neighboring state, Ukraine, into a military alliance, NATO. And that, when you Google Google the Monroe Doctrine, and you'll see those same pretense. If any of you brothers happen to see the video, Google it and read it, and you'll see that the United States is in violation with their sneaky ass, of their own doctrine, their own treaty. Reading on, it says Russia has declared war on Ukraine and tensions are rising as Russian President Vladimir Putin announces military operations. Today TV reported explosions in part of Ukraine after Putin ordered an invasion of the country. This news clip that you see here, we're gonna go into that. Because see, the editors would write it in such a way that it would say, okay, he's totally in the wrong. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? But this goes to show you that they're not all on, well, they're not going to be on code, you understand? Because it's a war. They're disagreeing with one another. So as the scripture say, I think it's in Amos 3, can two walk together unless they be agreed? No. They can't be on the same code because they're not in agreement. So we're going to bring out a few videos that's going to shed light on this particular paragraph that I'm reading. Going to show it to be somewhat false. Let me read it again. It says Russia has declared war on Ukraine and tensions are rising as Russian President Vladimir Putin announced military operations. India Today TV reported explosions in parts of Ukraine after Putin ordered an invasion of the country. Now that may turn out to be misinformation right there. We're seeing in this video. The Ukrainian government, in response, declared martial law. And the Ukrainian government, in response, declared martial law. That seems kind of not in the ordinary. Anyway, I'm going to use a few clips here. This is from ABC News special report. I'm using this video for only educational purposes. If you have any cable provider, Cox, Sparklight, you can jam this up on your own TV. I'm not making any I'm not making any proceeds whatsoever off of this. It's just to show for educational purpose, bring the people up to speed. Point blank period. And through the Fair Use Act, saying it is allowed. So I'm just going to use one or two videos, clips, and I'm going to bring out maybe 2 or 3 precepts, and I'm going to close out. And Lord willing, to be edifying to feed the lambs, the flock, the sheep of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. Anyway, that statement we just read, one more time, Salaki for my rambling on. Let's read that one more time. It says, Russia has declared war, and this is being reported by India News TV now. Russia has declared war on Ukraine, and tensions are rising as Russian President Vladimir Putin announced military operations. India TV Today reported explosions in part of Ukraine after Putin ordered an invasion of the country. Now, he ordered an invasion of the country. Now, let's see what this news clip say. Let's see if it contradicts that ever so slightly.
After the U.S. warned all day of a full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, that it was imminent, Vladimir Putin has just addressed the Russian people moments ago, announcing what Putin called the start of a military special operation, in his words, to demilitarize Ukraine. That Russia would bring in troops. He told Ukrainian troops to lay down arms and go home. Putin warned outside countries not to interfere. A Russian military operation, it would appear, is now underway. More than 150,000 Russian troops had been surrounding Ukraine for days now, surrounding the borders in the north, the east, and the south. The senior U.S. defense official had already reported the troops were uncoiled. They were ready all day. There were several ominous developments leading up to this tonight from Vladimir Putin himself. Russian state media now reporting that those 2 separatist regions inside Ukraine that Vladimir Putin declared as independent, that they were now requesting military help from Vladimir Putin and the Russian military in taking on Ukrainian forces. Of course, this was exactly what the U.S. and the West believed Putin would do.
Oh, let's see. It says that Dontas and I can't pronounce them. They requested military assistance. Let's hear that one more time, because that doesn't jive with what India TV just said, that Russia has declared war on Ukraine and tensions are rising as Russian President Vladimir Putin announced military operations. India TV reported explosions in parts of Ukraine after Putin ordered an invasion of the country.
The East and the South. The senior U.S. defense official had already reported the troops were uncoiled. They were ready all day. There were several ominous developments leading up to this tonight from Vladimir Putin himself. Russian state media now reporting that those two separatist regions inside Ukraine that Vladimir Putin declared as independent, that they were now requesting military help from Vladimir Putin and the Russian military in taking on Ukrainian forces.
One more time.
There were several ominous developments leading up to this tonight from Vladimir Putin himself. Russian state media now reporting that those two separatist regions inside Ukraine that Vladimir Putin declared as independent, that they were now requesting military help from Vladimir Putin and the Russian military in taking on Ukrainian forces. Of course, this was...
It seems as though he was asked to come in by, that Ukraine was making a move on them. Just, because Putin said that he told the Ukrainian military to lay down their arms, that there was a peacekeeping mission, that this was going to be protecting the citizens. We're going to get that, See how things are conflict. You see the conflict, where the two messages don't jive. One more time.
Several ominous developments leading up to this tonight from Vladimir Putin himself. Russian state media now reporting that those two separatist regions inside Ukraine that Vladimir Putin declared as independent, that they were now requesting military help from Vladimir Putin and the Russian military in taking on Ukrainian forces. Of course, this was exactly what the U.S. and the West believed Putin would do, that Putin would use a request for help like this, one as a pretext or reason for moving in to explain any large-scale invasion. I want to bring in our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who's been reporting live from Kyiv for several weeks now. And Ian, you reported moments ago that you...
Now, mind you, this is the U.S. reporting this, so, they're gonna jam it up in such a way, and likewise on the other end, from Putin and the allies thereof, from the old Warsaw Pact. They're going to jam it up in such a way. So when you got two so-called white men going back and forth, the lies are going to be slung, and, the inconsistencies are going to be brought to the forefront, But one thing we can stand on is prophecy, what the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua had already written before time, These Edomites, these so-called white people, they're just acting out the will of the Most High, No one's in charge but the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. No one. We're just watching the puppets play their parts, for lack of better words.
Have heard some noise already off in the distance.
Yeah, the distinct sound of explosions on the horizon here in Kiev. We've heard at least four what appear to be strikes lighting up the night sky just in the last really 10 minutes or so. As you say, it looks like the darkest day has come to pass following this speech by Vladimir Putin. We decided to launch this special military operation calling on the Ukrainian military to lay down its arms, talking about the denazification and demilitarization of Ukraine. I mean, judging by those words, this appears to be the worst case scenario, potentially. We have to wait and see. Not just forces moving into the east to these rebel-held areas, but potentially moving on other parts of the country. This seems to be a much larger ambition. It's no longer just about the Donbass, this industrial heartland in the east of the country. It doesn't really seem to be just about Ukraine per se. He again warned foreign countries not to interfere. He talked about...
Of course not. You English speaking, with your proper tones and accents and whatnot. Y'all all on the same page with this, Of course not. You're in violation of treaties that was set forth. That you're being very secretive and slick about, not letting your people know in on what's actually happening, giving them the dirty details. Anyway, let's move to the next video.
At Aspen Dental, we're a different kind of dentistry, where new patients get a complete exam and x-rays free without insurance. Plus, patients...
Big breaking news that's coming in on the Ukraine-Russia conflict as Russian President Vladimir Putin has recognized 2 breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine as independents and ordered the Russian army to...
Now, this is India News reporting what was just said by CBS News, you understand? But now, in the article we just read here from India News, that it was an invasion. You understand? He had ordered an invasion. See, words written in such a way can throw off the perception, or throw off the vision of what you're seeing actually happening, or what's actually going on. Like I said, World War III, we're in the skirmishes, but it's not full-fledged. It's not the war to end all wars, as they like to say it, because there's other prophecies that have to come to play first and foremost. But we're just seeing sparks, for lack of better words. So you're gonna have these little lies batted back and forth like you're on a little tennis table. You understand? These little lies and these little, they try to correct it and smooth it over and clean it up and whatnot. You dig? That's actually what we're seeing. Because they're skirting around the truth. They're skirting around the little devils in the details, quote unquote. The devil's in the details. They're skirting around that and not bringing that to the forefront. They're all in violations of treaties that they have signed, decades prior, in some senses, centuries prior. You understand? This is all that's happening, This is all that's happening. Anyway, let me let this play. I'm going to pull a few precepts.
Launched what Moscow called a peacekeeping operation in the area, upping the ante in a crisis the West fears could unleash a major war. Leaders of France, Germany and the United States condemned Putin's decision. The UK government says it will announce significant new sanctions on Russia, as will several other countries. But in the next step that seems to be pushing us further towards a conflict and towards a war, you've got Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, recognizing 2 breakaway regions as being independent, and thereby Russian troops entering these areas for what he says will be peacekeeping.
One more.
Ukraine under fire this morning. Sirens wailing and explosions heard in major cities, including the capital, Kyiv. Long lines of cars with people trying to flee to safety. President Biden condemning Russia, saying Putin has chosen a premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the attack on state TV in Russia, claiming it's intended to protect civilians. During an emergency meeting, members of the United Nations Security Council pleaded for peace.
At the exact
Russian President Vladimir Putin said it is intended to protect citizens. Now, what is the consequence of war? What is one of the repercussions of war? You have what you call refugees. You understand? And you notice the United States never speaks about the refugees. They're about their agenda and their agenda only. Now, these Western devils, they understand quite vividly. It is what we want and what we want, point blank, period. They know all the bloodshed and all the gory and heinous shit that come along with it. And so they're not going to speak on that. They're going to paint a narrative and paint this picture and wear their suits and ties and slick back their hair and whatnot and just make this look as organic as possible. But in the back of their minds, they know the blood and mayhem that comes along with it. But that's the casualties, that's never spoken of.
time, as we are gathered in the council seeking peace, Putin delivered a message of war.
He made a decision for a special military operation in the Donbass.
So I call on every one of you to do everything possible to stop the war.
Ukraine's president declaring martial law, allowing curfews and the seizure of property, saying the future of Europe's security is being tested. The U.S. vowed.
What
Made a decision for a
Listen to what Ukraine president did. See, there's a whole boatload of inconsistencies. Check this out.
special military operation in the Donbass.
So I call on every one of you to do everything possible to stop the war.
Ukraine's president declaring martial law, allowing curfews and the seizure of property, saying the future of Europe's security is being tested. The
Martial law and the seizure of property. Putin said that he's been requested to come in by two breakoff fractions within Ukraine, that they need military assistance. And Ukraine, in retrospect, is declaring martial law and the seizure of property. You see that? Listen to the details. Listen to the details. You have to listen to the details. Anyway, I'm going to end that right there. Let me go grab something real quick. You got to listen to them details because it's all in the details, and they'll talk slick and smooth and get right over the point that they're really at. If you don't pay attention, it'll go right over your head. Anyway, let me Google this real quick.
Here's the definition of martial law. Military government involving the suspension of ordinary law.
Military government. A military government involving the suspension of ordinary law. And who just declared martial law? None other than the Ukrainian president. And Putin said that he was requested to come in and defend certain fractions of Ukraine. Something ain't adding up. See how these lies? You see what I'm saying? You see? Yeah, it ain't adding up. Let's see. Martial law. It says martial law is the temporary imposition of direct military control or of normal civil functions or suspension of civil law by a government, especially in response to a temporary emergency when civil forces are overwhelmed or in an occupied territory. Let's see. What happens during martial law in the United States? What happens if martial law is called? Because see, these things come in here as well. When martial law is declared, civil liberties such as the right to free movement, free speech, or protection from unreasonable searches. Didn't they just say they're going to seize their property over there? Huh? Unreasonable searches, and that right there, unreasonable searches is I can't think of it right now. I know it's in the Constitution, so I'm not going to go there unless I have the exact, But let's say free speech or protection of unreasonable searches can be suspended. The justice system that typically handles issues of criminal and civil law is replaced with a military justice system, such as a military tribunal. Military tribunal. We're going to look up that word, military tribunal, real quick. It says, what is martial law? Martial law is a law administered by a military rather than a civilian government. Martial law may be declared in an emergency or response to crisis or to control occupied territory. Occupied territory. Military. Let's go real quick. Military tribunal.
According to Wikipedia, military tribunals in the United States are military courts designed to judicially try members of enemy forces during wartime, operating outside the scope of conventional criminal and civil proceedings.
Okay, so your civil rights and all that, your constitutional rights, wink, wink, it's been thrown out the window. Which, if you go back to the Civil War, let me stop right there. That's going to be another video for another time. I'm going to stop it right there. But simply speaking, you don't really have no constitutional rights. All these incidents, 9/11, 9/11, the war on terrorism, the war on drugs. Go back and read those executive orders that were signed. You have to do your research. You have to read these things because that's where you're being governed. You're being governed by a dictatorship. You think you have the checks and balances of the government, the judicial, electoral, and the executive. Really, you're being ruled by the executive by way of executive orders. These things have already been written up, and once a president comes into office, he takes his pen and he signs in these laws where no one can contest them. You're living under the dictatorship for the first 100 days of any presidency. But like I say, we, by and large, the society is just living, month to month, year to year, planning vacations and 401ks and, barbecues and 4th of Julys and next Christmas and family reunion and I'm raising my child to be on, one of the Disney kids and I'm looking forward to a career in Hollywood and so forth and so on. You know where I'm going with this, Just filled with the American dream. And this place is finna be a goddamn sand pit. Soon. It's over with. Anyway. That's why these elites and these sock puppets can do what they do and go unimpeded for the most part. But it's about to blow up in their face. That's what we're watching now. It says military tribunal in the United States are military courts designed to judicially try members of enemy forces during wartime, operating outside the scope of conventional criminal and civil proceedings. The judges are military officers and filled with the role of jurors. Military tribunals are distinct from court martials. A military tribunal is an inquisitorial system based on charges brought by the military authorities, prosecuted by military authority, judged by military officers, and sentenced by military officers against a member of an enemy. Now, if you're placed under martial law, you going as a citizen gonna be put in the place of an enemy combatant, and all of these military fractions you gonna stand in front of, So hey, anyway, enough of that. Let me grab a few precepts real quick. Let's grab a few precepts. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians real quick. Because that falling away has happened for the most part. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3, and it reads, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, whose opposition and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, shewing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, huh? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. You know? And Yahushua spoke of these things, you know. He spoke of these things. Now I want to get a real quick precept about that falling away, you know, and that's going pretty much into us losing our memories and whatnot, you know. I'm going to get this real quick, and then I'm going to grab another precept, and I'm going to close out what it was. Jeremiah, 17. This is Jeremiah 17:4, and it says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in a land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. So, you know, the falling away is us falling away from our laws, statutes, and commandments, and our heritage, more or less. We've been fully engrafted in as damn heathens, you know. So when I speak about these preparing for tomorrow, you know, these Murph days, you know, you just got to do with what's this Mardi Gras, you know, you got the Easter Bunny coming up, a damn rabbit laying eggs, you know what I'm saying? You got that coming up. You got what's come after that? You got 4th of July. You know, that's more in between that, but you know, that's you're falling away. You fully become engrafted into society and call yourself Americans and so forth and so on. You know, and this man has been, and he pushed himself to the forefront, pretending to be the Most High, with the technology on the left-hand side that the Lord has allowed him to have and given onto him, bigging himself up. And you, for the most part, don't care nothing about who you are, or what your relationship is with the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and what your true relationship is with these people that you surrounded yourselves with and have called your friends. We should love one another. He's been revealed as that man of prediction, the man of destruction. And for the most part, you 2/3, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Americans, you still can't call yourself to call this man out on his wrongdoing. Still find it in your mouth, fix it in your mouth to find an excuse for all his bad behavior. Your time is running out as well. Unless you repent, it's gonna be rough on you. Anyway, let me grab one more. Because all them lies and sneakish and all the sneakiness and whatnot, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua had said this. I think it's what, Isaiah 19. Listen to this here. This is Isaiah 19 and verse 1. It says, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Yep. Them laser beams, those chariots. Because unbeknownst to Christian pastors, they ain't talking about no damn cumulus cloud or no chemtrail cloud. That's talking about a chariot with that concentrated fire. You know today is laser beams. The real laser beams. This technology that the Most High allowed this white man to achieve, to acquire, that's way down the trough technology. You see those chairs pop up. Anyway, this is going into that wretched nature and how, you know, any house, it's just anybody. You know, if two brothers together, you know what I'm saying, can't get on the same page, then the outside force of them brothers is going to split them up and bring them down. You have to stand together. And what we're witnessing now, these white folks are not standing together. Verse 2, and it reads, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Yep. The Egyptian against the Egyptian. Esau against Esau. And they cannot stand. Will not stand. You see the fracture, the crack in the rulership of Esau Edom, who's right here at the last few seconds of the fourth quarter. It's the fourth quarter, 20 seconds left. We're past the 20-minute warning, or the 2-minute warning. I'm not a real big football fan. You're 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and the buzzer is about to hit. Most High is about to send our big brother Yahweh shot through. And the Hail Mary that Esau is about to throw up, it's going to fail miserably. Anyway, I just want to touch on that, you know, the inconsistency of this man and his lies. You know, the little subtle devils in the details that they're not allowing to come out, you know, and they're not mentioning. And that mainly falls on the U.S. and its allies, NATO and Germans and the French and the Brits and whatnot. You understand? They're not telling you the full story. Not giving you the full skinny. But that's the way it's gonna be till this man be fully removed out the way. Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone. Shalom.